All right, what's up, guys? Welcome to the 175th episode of the Grow My DJ Business podcast. My name is Cream.
Gary W. here.
We have a special guest today, Mr. Rick Wonder in the building. What up, Rick?
What's up, guys? What's going on?
What's going on?
So you guys all know Rick, DJ, producer, headliner music, exclusive artist. What else? Graphic designer. What else? What other?
I'm looking at your hat. I'm a
Adjective.
New York resident.
New York resident.
Yeah. Yeah. Fat kid foodie. You know. I don't know. Yeah. coffee connoisseur.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to have our espressos here and our iced.
Hell yeah.
We were talking about it before we started recording, man. You were on episode 17 of this podcast back in September 2020. A long time.
Pre-video. We're back in the day of just audio podcasts.
Yeah, we were all home. It was COVID time.
Yeah, that was
you
wild.
were the third guest I'm looking at. It was like Carlos, Melange, Kova, and then you.
Shit.
I feel like we've all come a long way since that time, man.
We really have. Then it was like, is DJing coming back? Are we gonna like hang out in person? And now it's like, what city were you in this weekend? What happened?
I remember specifically that conversation. You were sort of laying out like what you wanted to accomplish. And at that time you were trying to really make a push towards being more of an artist and focusing more on house music and like focusing on your brand. And it's just really great to think back to that conversation of where you were thinking about doing it and planning it to now where your schedule's jammed out, you're booked through the summer, like you're playing all over the place and all these big shows. So like, it's so awesome to see from that conversation to now your growth and sort of where you're at.
Right. Exactly. You know what's funny? Until you said that, like I didn't really think about like we literally documented like talking before stuff was going to happen and like what we would do if things opened back up. And now, yeah, I didn't even think about it until literally this very second. Like this is like a fast forward. Oh shit! Like look at all this like the past couple of years of stuff. That's a cool way to look at it. I didn't think about that. We really literally could talk about it prior to things opening back up and stuff.
Yeah, you were killing it in the open format game, and you know, obviously one of the best open format DJs in New York City. And then you were like, I'm getting heavy into this house thing, like on that episode, and you're like, this is kind of my roadmap. And you know, like you said, here we are, and like now your edits and whatnot have taken off like crazy in the last couple of years here, and you could see all the hard work.
Yeah, a lot of original and remixes
really
too coming out.
Right.
Try, yeah. I mean, it's been quite the. I mean, for all of us, really, it's been quite the journey, quite the change. If we would have had this talk in 2019, no one would have thought we'd be like where we are now.
Yeah,
right.
You know,
Gary and I didn't really even have a business. We didn't even have Get Down. Like I wasn't traveling at all, really. Like.
And now look how big Get Down is. The university, you know, we're now on a brand new like Grow My DJ podcast. It's a whole nother thing.
Right.
But you guys have interviewed so many people, and it's cool. It's cool to look back. Cream, you've been traveling all over the place. Gary, you run Florida now. That's it. If I gotta go into the state, I gotta check in first. You know, it's cool. We're doing a boiler room set in a couple of weeks. Like that's gonna be awesome.
That's gonna be so. This
bat.
episode is gonna come out. And our Boiler Room 360 set is going to be on this Saturday. So if you guys are listening and you want to come see Cream back-to-back Rick Wonder, and then we got Timo and Two-Face back-to-back to start the night, like super hyped for that. We'll put the ticket link in the show notes.
Did I tell you guys this is my first time like ever doing like any kind of like 360 Boiler Room, like middle, like moved stage setup kind of thing? I've never done any of these before. This one coming up, so I'm
glad that I'm going to be a part of that with you.
Yeah, you're going to be my first.
We've never even DJed together, so.
No, this is going to be fun. I think that works out for the best, though. Is like when you have similar styles, and you guys are homies, but you've never actually like played together. We both know each other's styles, and we both respect each other, and like so. I think it's going to be cool when we finally get to play together. We'll click, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've done 2 of these now, and like I've never played with either of those guys, Solano or Dario, and like we just figured it out. You know, you just click, and it's like a vibe, and we're all good DJs, and we're seeing what's happening in front of us, and it's just like communicating back and forth. It's a cool thing.
Yeah, for sure. I noticed with those like the back-to-back sets, if you guys put the party first and not try to like worry about like one up the DJ or like worry about who's shining more. Whatever, you just like, all right, we're gonna make the best party possible. We're homies. Let's just have fun. It's not about like, you know, whatever, like just me make the party shine. It's so much fun. Like, no eat, like you check the ego at the door and just have a good time. It's fucking great.
This party is like a lot of work to make happen, but it's so worth it to me. It's just worth it. I'll spend the time. I do the whole setup and get the gear and all the extra sound that we bring in. It's worth it. It's so fun. I'm super excited, man.
I'm excited, man. I mean, Jersey parties, like if the room is set up for it, like moving it into the middle is gonna be intimate and cool, and I like that.
Yeah, they rock out.
I wish you'd live stream it, because I'm obviously not going to be up there to see it live, but I know you're going to record it. So.
Yeah, we'll record it so you can watch. You could rewatch the set for
Oh,
sure.
we're gonna record the whole set.
Yeah, so we set up we set up camera in front and behind, and then our boy Jules kind of puts it all together for us, and we post it on YouTube. So
sick.
Yeah,
okay. I gotta make sure I play no Sony music.
We'll definitely get into that one. We're gonna talk some record pool stuff later. We'll get into that, but. So this past weekend, I went down to Asbury Park. Shout to Class Kills. They put on a party, and they brought in Twin Sick to Porta in Asbury Park, which is like Jersey Shore area. Mm-hmm. And it was super successful. They sold out the tickets. It was a Sunday of President's Day, so everybody was off on Monday. And not a lot of that is happening around here. So it was super cool to see. So shout to the Class Kills guys. Shout to Olive Oil. They opened up that party. But really what I want to talk about is one of the managers of another venue was there and came up to me and said, Kareem, like, you're just as good as these guys. Like, you play very similar music. Like, how come you're not Twin Sick? And I'm like, that's a great question. So I sort of wanted to pose the question to you. Like, what's the difference between someone like a Twin Sick and a Rick Wonder, or, anyone else that's sort of working to get to that level? Like, what does it take? Why are they where they are?
I think it's a few things. Number one, no matter what anybody wants to hear, there is a level of luck that comes into anything. You like luck, luck and timing. Like look at the career of John Summers, the perfect example. He was making tutorials in 2019. He put out a track in 2020. He got, he's talented as hell. You know what I mean? But you're putting out tutorials. You put out Deep End. You're throwing out some DMs. And now you're selling out the planet. You know what I mean? Like, part of that is luck and just being in the right age, in the right place at the right time. And I think another thing is, like, for us, what we can do is like being aware of the team around you. All those artists have amazing teams in the background, like pointing in the right direction, saying no to shit that they probably want to say yes to, or whatever. I think it's just like treating our DJ brands as a business, and like, how can you promote the business the best? How can you get the most brand awareness? What's your return on investment for all the different things you're trying to put out and stuff? And hopefully all those 50,000 things connect at the right time to put you in a trajectory to do that.
I think that's a huge part of it. Having that team behind you that is kind of guiding your career is such a huge portion of this, a huge portion of it. We highlighted it in the Avicii documentary episode of the podcast that we did.
Perfect example.
How instrumental his manager was to pushing him to the next level. He believed in his music. Obviously, you heard his music, you knew his talent, but like it got out there online and in a bunch of different avenues. But it was really his manager that pushed to get him into a lot of different rooms. And like, whether the people knew him or not, they were like, well, I want to get Avicii into this room, and then sent whoever the booker was the tracks. And it was like, all right, well, we're going to book this guy, obviously, you know what I mean? But it's having that level of belief and that level of somebody pushing you and being able to get you to that, to the next level is so important.
Yeah. I think now, even more now than then, because then it wasn't as much social media. There was social media, but not as much. I think now too, it's just having the right team in place to know what to do when and execute it when and seize opportunities. But it's also like, having a manager is going to tell you, hey, get on every interview, get on every podcast, do every mix, do every hey, look at me. Because it seems like now it's more of a numbers game than anything. I can make a great, Instagram post, well thought out, best shit ever. But if I post it at 1 instead of 5, it's just timing, and having the right team to tell you what gigs to take when and what stuff to do, I think plays a major role that people aren't aware of. They're like, oh, I think this DJ just overnight took off, and it could be 6 years of planning with a team of like what to do when to execute, so that on year 3 you're doing this. I think plays a major role in it.
I want to peel the curtain back real quick because I don't know if people realize how many people are behind even an act like Twinsick, right? Let alone someone who's even bigger like a John Summit. So Twinsick's going to have an agent, right? Someone that's trying to sell them into various markets, various venues. They have a manager who, like you said, will tell them this is the right thing to do, this is not the right thing to do, take more interviews, whatever. They're going to have a tour manager, right? Someone that goes on tour with them.
Multiple, actually.
Right,
There's multiple
agents
right. For different regions. You have your manager.
Yeah.
You have your tour manager. I'm sure there's multiple tour managers now and assistants, because if you're doing someone like John Summit, if you're doing an experts only show in Vail, but you're also planning a WMC. They don't call it WMC anymore. That's how old. What do they call it? Like Miami Music Week now, or whatever. Ultra Week. Yeah. Well, you're also planning, an Ultra Week party, Miami Music Week party. While also, I'm sure in the back of his mind is March 2nd is his Sphere debut, which I'm sure is going to be a whole. So you have to have multiple managers, behind the scenes doing stuff.
Photographer, videographer, social media person, social media manager.
Videographer.
Like there's, there's people.
And then at that level, when you're talking about albums and production and stage curations, you're talking about having like an A&R or a creative director, literally just somebody that's like, this is dope, this isn't dope, this is what the stage should look like, blah blah blah. I'm sure there's a stylist thrown into the mix, at least one, for all the outfits and all that shit. There might even be a PR person, so curating all the interviews and who's gonna I don't know if there's like a Gucci campaign or like different brand campaigns stuff. There's so many things that go into that. Half that, and that's somebody at a Twinsick level or something like that. And then as you go down, the team gets smaller, but we're still building teams. I mean, for the most part, all 3 of us have teams, whether we realize it or not. Whether that's other smaller DJs supporting us with help, agents, manager. It's still building a team. It's a lot. It's a lot of shit behind the scenes, I feel like.
It's and as someone sitting at home, right, listening to this, who's trying to grow, like you don't have any of that. You're just one person. So you have to figure out how to sort of manage all of those things. And like you said, creating a team, whether that is someone that is on your payroll or someone that you're just finding as a freelancer that can help you accomplish some of that stuff.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Is super important.
Well, that's at that level. At a lower level, like peeling back the curtain.
Yeah, lower level.
Being a one-man shop of like you said, you got to be a graphic designer, videographer, music producer, promoter, marketer, all this stuff. And as you need little things here and there, the DJs listening at home, one person leads to 2, and you build your team slowly.
Yeah. I think the Twinsick comparison to like a Rick Wonder or whoever that's working on getting to be a hard ticket seller, like their social media presence is also a big part of it, right? Their music is a big part of it. The tracks that they're remixing, because they do have originals, but I know some of their remixes kind of got big on socials, and that's sort of part of the reason why they blew up. So yeah, like we could be the best DJs, but unless we're doing all these other things and making people aware of what we're doing, you can't get to that level,
A lot of these DJs I see are like, what do I need to do? Like the up and coming DJs, the young kids are like, what do I need to do this? Should I just, if I make my Instagram great, will that give me more gigs? If I put out mixes, will that give me more gigs? Or produce, a song a week, will that give me more gigs? And it's just, I think it's just yes, all do like no, literally like do all that. Make your mixes, post your social. Like you have to, like I said, treat it like a business. I have a calendar printed up right here that says, post this on Tuesday, work on this music on Thursday. Structure it out and treat it like a business. I think from the jump, instead of worrying about when you get to that Twinsick level or a John Summit level, it's like, oh shit, now, you're so scattered with everything. If you treat it from the ground up and just build slowly,
I'm a big planner. So let's talk about how you go about your schedule. Like, are you 1 week planned? Are you 1 month planned? Are you planning music and social media? Like, what's your process there?
For socials.
For social or music or just like your day to day?
Okay. So as gigs, we try to book out as far in advance as we can. Socials, I I have a general. I mean, we've all been doing it for so long that it's kind of like, you get into a rhythm and it gets easier as you go. I have like a loose outline weekly of like my socials and stuff. I try to do like 2 carousels a week. I try to announce certain shows, update my links once a week. Whether it's the link tree, I check through all my socials to make sure everything's up to date and stuff like that. But as far as like scheduling out posts, I don't like to schedule out like with the apps where it's like, okay, at 8 o'clock on this day this is gonna go live. I have my posts kind of outlined of like, I'm gonna do 2 reels this week, a carousel. This is what I want to promote. This is what I want to mention or whatever. I like to hit live on the actual post myself. Maybe I'm old school, just because I'll check my insights and it's like, for Wednesday, oh, the engagement's higher at this time. I'll hold back, or it's also the little fun thing of like, oh, let's see what happens. Click, that's for Instagram. Twitter and Threads are more just like my thoughts, or if I try to genuinely engage with people. Whenever I have like a free half hour throughout the day, I just try to remind myself, hey, don't get fire emojis, write like something genuine on those platforms. Somebody might engage with you. TikTok is my trial for reels and stuff. Like I mess around. TikTok's more like, all right, I'll just throw stuff at the wall and see whatever sticks. And if it does, if it catches a momentum, then it might be worthy to go on my reels. And as far as music, I really just try to, it's like almost like a quota for the month. I look at it instead of like, I have to get this done, I have to do that. It's like, okay, well, I try to update my sets every weekend for the most part. Not full overhaul, but a little bit. So if I make 2 to 3 edits a week, that's going to keep my sets fresh on the weekends. And then I try to do an original full on remix aside from the edits, like once a month now. And then the originals, for the last 2 years, I was like forcing originals out. Like I have to do one a month. Spotify. And I realized that it didn't really do, like, it was like fun, but it wasn't like a crazy, didn't push, like move the needle as much. But my edits and my remixes move the needle drastically. So right now, this year, I'm still focusing a lot on originals, but more, I've been pitching a lot to labels. I've been getting a lot of responses from labels. I self-released stuff for the last 2 years, so that the originals is kind of as they come. My focus has been edits and remixes more for now. That's my general. That's my general plan on a month and weekly basis for socials and music. I think, kind of. If that makes sense.
It's a great outline. I mean, you talked about so many little aspects, or not even little, like just the amount of different aspects of the DJ culture that you have to touch on and that we all have to touch on in order to be successful is tremendously overwhelming. And if you don't have some kind of general idea of what your scheduling is going to be like on your posts, or like how you're going to post, like it can be extremely overwhelming, and then you wind up not doing it. And I feel like that's sometimes what some young DJs get caught up in, is maybe overthinking it, or just getting overwhelmed and not sitting down and really thinking about, what are the most important things. Like you said, it's like,
Sure.
Okay, well, this isn't working, so let me push this a little bit more on this day, and let me test something out on TikTok. It's a great way to look at it, right? Like if your big audience is in Instagram Reels and you can afford to test things out on TikTok, then that's a great route to go, and you kind of start to gain a general understanding of what works and what doesn't work. I feel like when I look at your content, it's like Rick's the king of content. He's got a ton of stuff going on. Like it's all very, it all looks similar with the dark, we talked about your content a lot in the last time you were on the show 4 years ago, and it's obviously gotten exponentially better. But I think generally when I look at it, our thought is, like Kareem and I talked about this, our thought is like, who's shooting all of this? Who's doing all of this work on the back end? Like the in-booth stuff, the in-venue stuff. I mean, you have a ton of great work in there.
Thanks. I mean, well, first, yes, it does sound overwhelming when you just say it all out loud like that and be like, oh yeah, you should do all this stuff. Yeah, it sounds like if you're a new up and coming DJ, you're sitting in your bedroom right now and you're like, wait, what do I got to do? It's really, it's not, it's take a piece of paper, you write down Instagram, Twitter, X, Threads. That's like a thing. TikTok. And maybe like once you get a little bit on a higher level where you're putting out edits and stuff, I recommend YouTube 1,000%. But it's not, you don't have to sit down every day and be like, okay, what's all these socials? What do I have to do? It's like once a month, sit down and be like, okay, remind myself 3 times a week maybe to open up the text apps, meaning like the X and the Threads app. And you can kind of ping pong both things back and forth. But it's like just opening it up for a half hour every other day. And you don't got to have this well thought out, overthought, priority level guidance post that's, going to give ultimate wisdom to everyone in the tri-state area.
Or troll everyone in the tri-state area.
Yeah, perfect the cake. You don't have to do that. You can, like, your post, your engagement on Twitter and Threads can literally just be like a genuine reply to something the Get Down agency wrote on there. Instead of like I said, instead of like just 3 fire emojis, like, okay, cool, nice. But if you're like, well, what was the best venue in Jersey this weekend? Or whatever it is, well, that's kind of a post. That can spark engagement. That can create a relationship with new DJs. That's good. That's all you need. Boom, that's it. You don't have to do all this stuff. Instagram, it's a little bit more work because it's visual or whatever. But if you have a track coming out, you can, take your phone, create a selfie video. DIY content is so popular right now. It's more popular than the well-curated videographer shit, that could be your content. It's just having an awareness that, like, if you want to get to a certain level, you have to play the social media game. It's like, that's it. It's not a question anymore of like, is this social media thing going to happen? Is TikTok going to happen? It's here. Either you do it or you're not going to be playing on that level. I think that's just that it. So with that in mind, it's just kind of being aware of it. The stuff on the road, thank you. I kind of over the last couple of years just created, I think I said on a couple of podcasts, I just created like a Rolodex of great content creators that get my style in each market. And when I'm visiting that market, I just tap into that person. Hey, are you available? No. Okay, the next person, you available? Great. It's also how much you want to invest in your brand, right? You want to take the half hour to go on YouTube University and learn how to color correct your video, because then you can make everything look great. It's not that hard. You just got to take the time to go on YouTube. YouTube can literally teach you anything in the world. So it's how do you color grade your videos? How to use Lightroom to tweak your pictures. Then anytime I get a video or a picture sent to me, I can curate it or edit it the way I want for my stuff. It's just taking the time to learn these skills that are out there, I think.
Yeah, I think that part of what you do and like your Photoshop skills or Canva skills or just ability to sort of adjust things to make it look and fit your brand is super important. And I can't stress how important some of those things have been for me either. Just being able to do the little things. And it's not that hard. Like you said, you can learn any of this stuff. But having that feather in your cap makes all this content stuff a lot easier. When you could go in and adjust a photo or add a logo or just even like super simple stuff to help furthering your brand and furthering the way your brand looks and feels. Because we've talked about this a lot in the last few episodes, so I'm not going to dig too deep into it. But having that skill set makes you such a better artist or brand, and I just think that's so important. If you're listening, like, go learn Canva, if nothing else. Like, go learn
Photoshop. Go learn Photoshop.
Learn Photoshop. That's right.
No, it's all right.
Gary learned how to. We learned how to use Photoshop over the years, right?
I sucked so bad. I just don't have an eye for it. Like, but at least I knew that.
Nah, it's all right. I started using Photoshop in 2001.
Wow.
So that's why in 2025 I can do stuff at the level I'm doing it. I've been practicing. Wow, that's a long fucking time. I've been practicing with Photoshop for a very long time to get it to the level that it's at right now. I didn't pick it up a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago. It took years of repetition and practicing. Granted, I have another business that I get paid from doing that stuff with. So like it was paid repetition, paid practice, but that wasn't like a skill I just picked up even a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
It's took me a very long time to get to this point, but I did start somewhere, so these DJs or whoever, crack the program online or whatever, just start messing around with it. You'll eventually get to level, but you have to start somewhere.
If you can learn simply Canva and Lightroom, like you can do a whole lot. And
so much.
I'll give you guys a little cheat code. So Photoshop, you can buy or rent, or it's expensive. There's a program called Pixelmator that's the exact same thing, and you could export as PSD files, and I think it's either free or like $20.
Wow.
It's the same program, and that's a hack that I'll throw out there for you guys real quick.
That's cool. I also know there's an Adobe subscription. I think it's like the photographer package. It's $19 a month, and you get full access to Lightroom Mobile, Photoshop, and like their stock catalog.
Yeah, all the templates, right?
Yeah, but even like assets, so you can for your designs and stuff, you get access to all catalog. I think it's like $20 a month. Something else.
Listen, guys, got to spend some money to produce the good content and well polished, clean looking content. It just is what it is.
It's just how far do you want to take your brand and how big do you want to take your brand? If you want to be a local mom and pop shop, there's nothing wrong with that, and that's fine. And the amount of investment you have to put into it is going to be minimal. But then, unless the luck we talked about fucking strikes right on you, you can't expect to be like, okay, one day I'm going to play at Factory Town in Miami. It's just it's not there. You gotta and like you said, invest in your brand. If you want your brand to be a brand, you gotta do these things.
I think about how much time and money it would how much time and money it would take for me to create the end product that I want if I couldn't do it myself. Like you have to wait for other people to send you the content back. You have to make sure it's on brand with the style and the look that you're looking for. And only you really know what that is, right? It's hard to explain that sometimes. And then paying for the flyers, paying for the video edits, paying for all that stuff, you would spend a fortune. So instead you just learn how to do it and you do it yourself.
Just going to say that if I tried to pay for all the graphics and videos and stuff that I produce, I would be broke. I would be working a job just to try to be a DJ. It's but you take a few hours. If you take 1 hour a day, or when you come home from work or whatever, and practice a skill to help your DJ career. If you have a full-time job, and this is the same thing, you take 1 hour a week practicing a skill. At the end of the year, you spend 365 hours learning those skills to apply to this. I learned that from The Rock or somebody the other day. It was a cool quote. But he was like, just do an hour a day. You think that's crazy? It's like, oh shit, I'm not working enough in my music, I'm not working enough stuff. Well, look at it, longevity. By next year, you will know Photoshop great if that's what you pick for this year, or Canva or Premiere or whatever, A
little hack that I've been doing this year. Sorry, Gary, I didn't mean to interrupt. Real quick. And me and Gary have had these conversations. I need the first hour of my day so I can open Ableton and spend 1 hour at least per day making music, because that's a super important thing for me to get to the next point of where I want to go. So it's Gary, I need the first hour of the day. Instead of starting at 10 o'clock, maybe we're going to start at 11 o'clock to talk about what we have to talk about for the business, but give me that hour to focus on music every day. And like you said, over time, that 1 hour every day adds up and you could actually accomplish a whole lot. So my advice would be, whatever you're working on or you want to learn or that's most important, spend the first hour or 2 hours of your day doing that thing and then moving on to everything else. And you'll be so surprised how much you can accomplish in that time.
For sure. Especially first thing in the morning. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
This is going to be controversial, but if you're spending 2 or 3 days a week where you're practicing your craft, you're on the decks at your house, I hate to say this, but that's not the most important thing anymore. You can spend a day doing that and then spend the other 2 days practicing my social media, editing, and then the next day producing music. You don't have to be practicing every day, mixing, or different, I don't know, just anything that has to do with the DJ skill, because the DJ skill portion of it has become less important, which is crazy to say, but it's true.
It really has. Yeah.
And this goes back to the Twinsic conversation that we had, because it's like, okay, like, yeah, we might be just as good technically and how you sound out, but it's all of that other stuff that we had just talked about that's so important. So maybe rein it back on the skill portion of it and go all in on these other aspects of the business.
But piggyback off that too, just because you're not working on your actual skills on a mixer doesn't mean you're working on your DJ career or your artist career. Like all these other things are still practicing your craft. It's just the craft has evolved and changed over the years, you know? Yeah.
Part of that too is like hunting for music and organizing your sets and folders in Serato if you're using a computer, or your record box if you're using sticks. That part, the time invested in that is just as important as the time invested in actual DJ skill. When I'm organized and my folders are clean and clear and I prep for a specific set, those are usually my best sets because I've put time and energy into thinking about how to execute that set, you know?
For sure, yeah. I think because we all are or came from open format backgrounds, we're always like, we got to be prepared for everything. We got to like, any scenario that can hit us, boom, 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 boom. I want to have the biggest blanket ever. But sometimes like taking a minute and be like, okay, I'm playing these 2 venues this weekend, or these 3 venues, or these 4 venues. Taking a half hour or an hour, that 1 hour of that day during the week to prep your 4 sets and prep, like actually like not song for song in order, but like, okay, I'm playing a 2-hour set. I could possibly play 150 songs tops. What's like having it set in a folder for each night too makes such a big difference. I just did the same thing. I was playing in Nashville this past weekend, and I was like, you know what? Let me prep a new set. I had a lot of cream edits. I had a lot of different edits I wanted to test in and stuff. I was like, you know what? Let me just rebuild that folder so when I plug in, I'm not like, shit, what am I going to play? I already know the first like 15 songs, not the order, but like the idea. Helps my set so much more. I'm doing the same thing after this. I gotta play a set tonight. I'm gonna prep for like a half hour, just like, you know, throw a folder together and stuff.
It makes a huge difference. I remember when we had Dramos on the show years ago, and he was like, I literally create a folder for every single DJ set. I was like, holy shit, if Dramos is spending time to create a folder every single set, like maybe I need to focus more on this. And I started doing it, and like I just felt like I'm a better DJ when I spend that time to prep for each weekend or each individual set, for sure.
Same. I've been doing that more and more. Like, you know, you can't predict every song they're going to play or whatever, but having like, again, like a rough outline of like the general direction. I'm a fan of Gary's approach to a lot of stuff, which is like, you want to take them on a journey. I've heard so many episodes where he's talking about, you know, I want to play these sets and go dip up and down and you know, extended mixes and stuff. If you prep, you can genuinely enjoy that and carry it longer instead of you're playing a song and you're like, fuck, what am I going to play next? I'm going to look through my folder. I got to find it in this folder. You can just kind of be more connected if you're prepared, you know?
Yeah, Cream and I joke around though a lot because a lot of times for years we would text like, oh, I prepped all night, or I prepped for like an hour doing this, and like just blew up in my face the first hour. Now I'm in a completely different place.
Those open format rooms, forget about
those open format rooms, man. It's tough.
It always happens. You can never predict a perfect thing, but it's nice to have a little bit of outlet. I still get hits like all the time. I'll show up to a venue, I think it's gonna be all tech house, in the middle of the night they're like, hey, so and so's here, do a trap set or do something, and you know, you gotta pivot. But if you're prepared and you have outlines, then it kind of makes things a little bit easier. That happens to me all the time too. Even now, like I'll go into a venue, be like, okay, this intro is gonna be awesome, and you get there and it's a slower start, and the dance floor is not as big as it was, or you know, somebody's fucking playing Little Baby, and you're like, oh shit, all right, maybe I got to do 10 minutes of this before I do my big room intro or whatever. It's part of the game.
Cream just had this happen.
We just had this conversation because I was up at Avalon Mohegan on Saturday, and you know, I love playing there. Great room. I usually come in with like a big intro, and I hammer them off the jump with bigger tracks. And then, you know, I'll dip down and play like 1 or 2 like little mini hip hop sets or whatever. But it was snowing like crazy, so we had a smaller crowd. And I literally played like a 30-minute hip hop set to start my set because that's just what was working and who was in the room. And like, that's being a DJ, right? That's just what's best for the room, what's going to work. And because we've gone through the ringer as these open format DJs, like we're prepared for anything and we can do anything because we've been in rooms where we're playing 128 EDM and a manager or owner runs up to you and says, this rapper's in the building, play this song right now or you're fired, kind of thing.
You want to keep your job. You want to keep the crowd happy. Also, it's like, yes, we all want to play like these dollar shows and stuff like that. But if you walk into a room and there's a group of, I don't know, 15 girls standing in front of you that are hot and they want to hear Cardi B or Bad Bunny or whatever, are you really going to forcefully piss off your crowd because you want to be that house guy? Or do you want to come back to that room and play again? Or maybe after that 15 minutes of hip hop, you pivot to a dope hip hop tech house remix and you just got 15 new fans because you gave them their shit for a few minutes and kind of pivoted into your shit, and they still liked you. They still rocked with you. You know, it's important to kind of, I don't know, rock with everything when you have to, I guess. You know? Right.
It's a balance of being the artist and the DJ and also being paid by a venue to do a job. So like you have to sort of balance the two. And until you're, you know, Tiesto, or we always use Tiesto as an example, but until you're a bigger artist where people are literally there to hear the music that you've created, you got to do the job too. So,
and if you notice, all those guys, like even John Summit, Dom Dollar, Tiesto, David Guetta, they're all paying attention to what's popular on TikTok, what's trending with the teeny boppers. They're working all those stuff in, whether it's a Tiesto level edit or whatever. To some extent, they're still reading the crowd. You know, look at Diplo sets. They post him on 1001 track list. He fucking played Despacito last weekend. He's Diplo. You know, like I'm not even making that up. It's on his 1001 thing. So. No matter at what level, at some point, you gotta, you always read the crowd, unless it's an experts only curated veil set. And even then, you're still gonna tweak shit in. Like I saw John Summit playing original version of "Don't You Want Me, Baby," or doing one of those songs. I'm sure he's in veil. It's a certain kind of crowd. It's very different than a 5 a.m. space crowd. Right. You're gonna even John Summit's gonna tweak his set to make the crowd he's in front of happy,
Yeah. Think about like the way we're going to prep and play the 360 set is completely different from the way that I would play a casino headline set, right? It's just totally different.
Oh, yeah.
Like we're going to go heavy and dark and dirty and you can't do that when someone is in a casino celebrating their birthday and they just want to hear the Pitbull vocal EDM drop. Like it just is what it is.
it's time and place for everything,
Absolutely. So let's how do you let's put this out into the world. We've been trying to manifest things on this show. What is a big Rick Wonder 2025 goal and how do you get there?
I got a few that I'm trying to work. One is definitely, expand. I want to play more on the West Coast and Vegas and stuff like that. That's I think I'm trying to work on everything I possibly can in my bandwidth right now. For that, whether it's just working, it's literally just rinsing and repeating the same things we keep talking about. It's working on myself, working on making sure my sets are palatable enough to everyone can kind of relate, but unique enough where like if you walk in, you'd be like, oh, that's a Rick Wonder set. Not like you can tell it's me playing, but it still is kind of making everybody happy. That and my goals are shifting a little bit more musically, where like there's certain labels I really like to get down with, or I'm trying to produce. I'm finding my sound, and I'm trying to put it get it into the right circles to expand more in the house direction. Those are my two goals, really, musically and DJ wise. And of course, I mean, every DJ is going to say, I want to play festivals, So of course, I want to do something like that at some point. But that's really it. The goals. Trying to keep doing this,
What is your what is your sound? What are you working towards right now? Like what is the vision for your sound?
I've been having fun producing a lot of Latin tech house stuff still, but also like the past couple of things I'm currently working on are like more like that odd mobby hood politics stuff where it's like a blurb. It's kind of cool where like the open format stuff is leading heavy into like the dance music scenes like a tasteful way right now with like the proper remixes and the hood. I really love the hood politics stuff, and also like the experts only. I know like everyone's like, oh, John Summit stuff, but even like the Leighton Giannani stuff, and I love Max Seiler stuff and West End and this whole like commercial big room groove. I don't know, because some of it's tech house, some of it's minimal, but it's like it's a cool new place where like it's like big room tech house with some commercial stuff mixed in. I guess is the best way I could say it. I don't know. Yeah.
Well, I think anyone that listens to your edits. So you're an exclusive editor on Headliner Music,
Yeah.
and anyone that listens to your edits, they all have a very similar style and sound, and people know what they're going to get when they see your name pop up on the site. And I think that's a great way to let people know where you're going with your originals and your remixes, because you're making edits in the same style. And
Right.
not only that, your edits are very playable for a DJ because you're a working DJ and you're making edits to make your set sound unique. So like you're starting to create this momentum and build this sound and this thing behind your production. And I think you're doing it the right way. And
Thanks.
and people see it and people want to download your music. And I play a lot of everyone plays a lot of your music, you know? So your sound is definitely out there. I think people understand that you're going down a certain lane, and it starts with the edits. And I've been trying to do the same with mine, where sort of pivoting and really only making edits in the sound that I want to create.
Yeah, the edits helped my original is helping. I should say help. It's helping shape my original sound now, because I'm like picking pieces of different stuff that I personally like for my sets, and I thought like this bassy stuff, this commercial vocal, but then I'm trying to replicate what works in my sets and what's playable and what I'm drawn to. I'm just trying to make a version of that originally for myself now in original productions. So I guess like the editing played a major role in shaping my sound. Is not even chasing trends, just like I like borrowing this from here and borrowing that from here. I'm like, oh shit, this is dope. Now I can make something similar for for myself or whatever. Yeah, like I can't describe my sound. I know it's like kind of shaping, but I can't put a pin on it just yet.
Well, it's hard to put a pin on anything that's coming out. Like even now in downloading and organizing music, I'm like, well, I don't even know what to call this. Like, what is this? Is it progressive house? Is it melodic techno? Is it like, I never know.
It's whatever it is for you. It's literally not like prepping in record box. I've been finding myself making these like new music crate, and then like like 4 sub crates where it's like, Afro early, Afro late, melodic, late night climaxes, filler tech house and stuff. So I know like where in the night I would want to place it. But yeah, there's so many like cool subgenres now,
I do the same thing with the subgenres and within my organization.
I feel like I'm trying to get back to not being so subgenre-y, because like I'll throw any genre in my peak. Like as long as it's a peak record from that genre, I'll throw it in. Like I'll do my folders by year. Okay. So like I'll have just like a house peak, like 2025 house peak. And then like if it's an Afro house track, if it's a melodic track, it all goes into that peak. But then there's also another folder that's like subgenred out, like where it's Afro and then it's melodic. Because I don't know, I just feel like sometimes things will get like I get real specific. Like that peak will be all like big room, let's say. Like that's what it was a couple of years ago. And then I was having like a peak Afro thing, but I would never then cross them over at any point. Where that's like kind of taking a chance, but if I throw them in the same folder, maybe I will take that chance and learn a new way to mix those two records together.
Yeah, I do both really. It's like what we were talking before. Like it's all in the prepping. Like I'll organize a folder, February peak, bass house, Afro, blah blah blah. But then I'll still like it's Friday. I'm playing like a real rave warehouse kind of party in Morgantown, West Virginia, I think for a sec. And it's going to be like real ravey shit. So I'll have those individual folders, but then I'll make a peak, or like not peak, a Morgantown set prep folder with stuff from all different genres. So if I want to, genres that I feel like playing, bass house and whatever, and I'll, blend them all into one. So so throughout the night, if I want to go from, a bass house and hit them with, an Afro or a drummier tech track, I'll have them all in one folder, seeing them line up together. But then I'll also have the other way, so that if I'm in a room, like, Saturday, I'm at Somewhere Nowhere, and I could be blending multiple ones, or there comes to a part of the night where they just want like a melodic ride. So I know I can jump into that subfolder of Afro melodic and literally hit them with an hour of that. Because sometimes I'll get excited. I'll be like, oh shit, all these songs. I'll pick a song and it's not that, and it'll go from like Afro to like fucking trance or progressive. That's the whole vibe in the room kind of just shifted when everyone's kind of like, bouncing and grooving in one direction. So it doesn't cost extra to make more crates on a USB or a laptop. So why not just make 3, 4, 5, whatever, Right. I always every time I have a good set, I take that history, make it a new crate, drag it back in and say, good peaks just in case or whatever.
Yeah.
That's good advice. I think that's smart to just check back and see what worked and then recreate it if you can.
Yeah, I have a folder on my USB always of just histories that work for rooms.
So we sort of brought up your edits and we brought up Headliner. We're both exclusive editors on sites.
Yeah.
Do you think record pools are still the best place to download music?
For DJs or for DJs, right?
DJs.
Yeah. I still every week I check HMC, DMP. Those the first two I always check. Then I check, SoundCloud Hype It, or Hype Edit, or however you say it. And I still love going on Beatport. I love taking, an hour and just deep diving in on just Beatport shit. Because Spotify is great, Mint and Tech House operating stuff, but they're so I don't know. I like Beatport. I feel like I can find gems in there.
I go down a Beatport rabbit holes hours and hours, thousands of records in a sitting.
I love those hype charts too. Where it's a little bit deeper dive. I usually find stuff I'll find something there, I'll play it, then a month later it's popping. That's where I find a lot of instrumentals for my edits is in those hype charts.
Yeah.
I think the record pools are similar to how we are as DJs, where we're spread and we have to do a lot of different things. You can't just go to one record pool anymore and download your music. No. You really have to go hunt for stuff, because I think the quality overall is sort of decreased a bit, where there's a lot of stuff you got to sort of sift through to get to the good stuff.
Yeah.
I like searching out the exclusive editors that I like. So, I'll go to the different record pools and sort of hit, all right, what did Rick put out this week? And what did, DeVille put out this week? And sort of go through my list of the guys whose music really resonates with me and do that. And then, SoundCloud Hyped It. I also use 1001 track lists a lot.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think that's a good place to go find the trends of what people are playing in their sets across the country and the world, what new music people are playing in their sets. So I like to use that as a resource too, for sure.
Even those on the side where it's trending mashups, trending newcomers, top Beatport, those charts help a lot. Actually, too, I save or I'll screenshot a lot is the Instagram stuff. Gordo has the thing. I think it's Taraka. It's music you should know or whatever. And that and the TikTok. I love the Angela the Kid, Olive Oil stuff. When it's the 5 top bass house remixes.
Yeah,
or whatever.
Screenshot all that stuff too.
Screenshot all of them all the time. It's great. And Thoughts too.
Yeah.
No, Thought girls. They always post songs. No,
good track.
Because all of them are taking selfies and posting songs to use as music, trending or not. A lot of that stuff, if you play it at the club or make an edit or remix of that song,
right, it works.
Well, the same Thoughts that are taking the fucking selfie things. Thirst Traps are the same ones that are going to go nuts for the song in the club. It's,
You know what I think about too? What content do I take screenshots of? What content do I actually sit there and watch? And those lists, I always sit there and watch. So maybe as artists, we can be well, the content we consume, maybe we should create that content too, because if we're consuming it, other DJs and artists might want to consume it,
For sure, yeah. Especially if it comes natural to you. Angelo with the napkins and stuff like that. I think it's playing into your strengths. I love even what Solano does, where he does it a different approach. He just puts a camera, looks at his computer from a different thing, and gives people an audio description of like this or whatever. I think playing into his strength. Maybe he's not so good at being up in the front of the camera like this. He's set up to the side and do it his way.
Yeah, he's been doing good right now.
Yeah, I like his style of doing that stuff because everyone's doing karaoke into the camera. He kind of is I'm just going to be over there, doing my thing.
He definitely does not love the camera.
That's
he's
a lot.
He's got to come up with ways to promote his stuff without doing that. So
he found a creative workaround,
right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. I like that.
I think the Patreon thing is sort of pulling away from the pools too, and it's it's segmenting sort of the market a lot, because it's like everybody's starting to create this Patreon thing where it's like, I got to go it's like cable TV. It's like, I don't get Optimum Online or Verizon. I have to go to each individual HBO Max and Netflix and all this stuff. And it's like super not segregated, super segmented. So I'm thinking, like, is there a way that you can create like a package on Patreon, like 5 artists, or I don't know. Like I've been thinking about this a lot lately.
I feel like that's what a record pool is. The record pool is literally taking a bunch of like editors and putting them all in one source for you. So I think that's what that is. The Patreon thing is cool. I'm new to it myself. Like, I haven't really been on that much. I just started one recently to grow and like see what it's like. It seems like a great workaround, especially with like the Sony bug that like gets into everything and shit, where, you know, or for certain edits or for certain things. I like Bandcamp too. I've been messing with Bandcamp more and searching on there, finding a lot of like hidden gems. I like Bandcamp more, I think, because you don't have to be a subscriber. If, like, you know, if you put out one dope track, I can buy it for $1.50 or whatever on Bandcamp. But, you know, if you're on Patreon, you have to be a tier subscriber and all this other stuff. But I like all these different platforms. You know, I like there's more ways to make money as for artists and stuff. You know, I think it's great. Patreon kind of seems like a professional OnlyFans, but it's cool. I like it.
I mean, it kind of is, right?
Right? Yeah. I mean, I just started, like, I guess, ghost posting. I've been like posting on it a little bit just to get myself used to like testing out the platform and getting used to how to make posts and stuff, to try to, you know, make it as just another mainstream stuff, like stuff that can't go on record pools or can't go on SoundCloud because of, you know, certain restrictions or whatever. Patreon and Bandcamp are good ways to still put your art out, you know?
It's good ways to put content out other than music as well. When we talked to Danger Zone, we talked about like his rundowns and going through his playlists and how he created content off of that. But I think there's some cool ways that you can sort of get other content out into the world and help DJs
for sure
on those platforms as well.
For sure. I made a sample pack, my first sample pack that's geared for not production but for editors, for like all the little bells and whistles that I use for my edits. I kind of sat down one day and organized everything, labeled everything, and that's like, I'm gonna sell products on my Patreon in like as a storefront versus like a subscription thing where, like, you know, one-time purchase. To get that, I'm working on Ableton racks for like, nice. You know, the perfect reverb, the perfect master for an edit and stuff. And like, I think, you know, you can use these platforms to separate your different things, you know. So eventually, hopefully one day, my Patreon will be just for editors and producers, as like a place for tutorial education stuff, where and then Bandcamp and SoundCloud for like my actual music and shit, you know. So kind of, you know, where to go for certain things. Something I've been working on. Nobody's ever done an edit pack, a sample pack for editors. So I was like, oh, it's finished. I've just been using it to kind of tweaking.
Yeah, I love that. Super smart.
Yeah. Awesome. Just different stuff, different things. Different
I like places. It. I like it. What is it? Just patreon.com/Rick Wonder? Let's promo it right now.
I don't know. Hold on.
We'll put it in the show notes. Everybody go follow Rick on Patreon and check out that.
Patreon.com/C/Rick Wonder. I'm still getting used to it. Oh shit, I got 5 people. Yeah, what's up? All right. I haven't really announced it. I've been posting things here and there, just like I said, just kind of get used to being on another platform and being trying something
just
else out.
Just another thing you have to figure out and learn and spend time on, right?
Yeah. It's like, you know, who knows? You know.
All right, let's get into this music conversation. I think we have some some tough topics here, but we got to talk Kanye, because I think the three of us have all grown up in an era where Kanye, musically, this is Kanye, the producer and musician, is a genius and one of my favorite artists, right? But I think he's just reached a point where like no one can support him because of his actions and what he's doing beyond the music, you know?
Yeah.
I have to say, I've come on this podcast and I said, it doesn't matter what Kanye does. I'll always play Kanye. I said this probably like 2 years ago, and no, got to take that back.
Yeah.
Come on, he's killing us out here.
Killing us. It's over.
I have a thought on this though. Well, first of all, let me start this off by saying everything Kanye is doing right now is fucking terrible, and he's canceling himself, and it's horrendous what he's doing. Let's just put that out there.
Right.
I do think there's a difference in the music. Like the older shit, I think is still okay to play. If it's like, you know, Good Life, Through the Wire, All Falls Down, like the nostalgic old stuff from when he was a sane human being, making people party and dance, I think you can get away with playing, or if it's like a unique edit. But like just straight up walking to a room and dropping Carnival right now, I think is out of the question. You know, I think that's my personal music split, separating the artist from whatever. Right. Like I played an edit of I miss the old Kanye, like this past weekend, and it's like I do miss the old Kanye. You're fucking right, I do. So I think that's okay to play. But then I have people come up on stage and they're like, "Drop Carnival." I'm like, no, because that's too new, and it still bleeds into his mentality of nowadays. But then I've been in other rooms and I'm like, yo, I can't play Kanye, right? They're like, nobody gives a fuck musically. Like if you wear Yeezys, they're gonna curse you out. But if you play one of his songs, it's like they're separating the artist and the art. And I've been in other rooms where I've queued up a Kanye song recently, and they're like, I don't want that shit in my club. I'm Jewish. I have grandparents. Like, fuck you. Do not play that.
Yeah.
I think it's to each their own subject, you know. For now,
I think because it is so divisive, it's like maybe just stay away from it for
I've been for the most part, like I don't want to, but I think that's how people look at the music. Maybe.
I'm staying away from this shit all.
I think I'm staying away from it too.
Yeah.
As much as I love the old music,
it's
now.
I mean, it's just, you know, like you said in the beginning, like nothing he's done is you know, he's completely tarnished his reputation. He's like an absolutely terrible. He's a terrible human being for even thinking about shit. So like you can't even, unfortunately, can't support it because it's just not supportable. Like it's,
no, you're right. Like I'm not defending him. I'm not saying like he's 100%, and he was one of my fucking like idols.
Yeah,
like
same.
Production wise, I think he's a genius. Or was, you know, he used to have a great style. He used to have an awesome style. Like,
yeah.
I think it's unfortunate.
I think one for people that are our age that like grew up playing this forever, like playing Kanye since 2003, and then like or even before that with his production on, you know, Jay-Z shit and all that other stuff.
Well, then where does it stop? Like he's produced on so many artists. So now is half of Jay's catalog gone? Is half of, you know, all this stuff, or is it just like what?
Somebody did this. Somebody yelled at me the other day. I was playing like a old school R&B set at like a brunch or something, and like a lot of my old school R&B is like Total, SWV, Missy, like all that stuff. And Diddy produced every single one of those tracks that I played that day, like every one. And it was like, well, I can't, like, if I can't play stuff that he produced, I can't play in this genre. Like there are so many big records from back then. And it's like, you're right. Where do you draw the line? It's like,
I also think it's a time and place. It's time and place too. Like if I'm playing, you know, a main set on Friday night at 1 a.m., and I can choose not to put Kanye in my set, I'm probably going to do that.
Right.
You know, if Fashion Week last week, I played a 90s hip hop and R&B party straight, no EDM, nothing. And it was on Sticks, by the way. What's up? 4-hour R&B hip hop set on Sticks. But I prepared the whole day. But because it was that kind of party and the crowd that was in there, they wanted to hear every Bad Boy record. They're not Diddy supporters. They're R&B supporters of a time when that's a classic for that time, you know. So I was playing the May stuff. I wasn't purposely trying to be like, hey, check it out, I'm playing Diddy. I was just playing my set of that era, and it kind of fit in. But time and place, that kind of made sense. I wasn't like forcing you guys to listen to a Diddy track. I was playing 90s stuff that Diddy was a part of.
Right. You can't have a 90s party and not play that music, you know? Like, you just can't.
Right. I think there's people that are going to look at Kanye and think R. Kelly, and I think there's people that are going to look at Kanye and think Michael Jackson. You know, it's fortunate or unfortunate for however where you lie on that. I think there's certain situations where it's not appropriate to play Kanye at all. You know, I'm not trying to defend it. Like the new shit.
No, we're all on the same page on that part of it for sure.
And even Carnival, like I have my own remix that went viral, and I'm like, I like
Can't
don't
even touch it.
Yeah, I'm not even playing it. You know.
I think Kanye had a run similar to Drake, how Drake had a run where like everything he put out was just playable and part of an era in the 2000s or 2010s, I guess you would say, where Kanye was sort of in the mid to late 2000s.
Yeah. It's crazy. Bring up Drake. There's like Drake, Rihanna, and like only a few artists where you can play like an almost entire dance or open format set of just that artist for like an hour or two, like, and just smash it. Like wherever Drake's at, like you can still take a shit and rock a whole set.
The night that Rihanna did the Super Bowl halftime show, I DJ'd an all Rihanna night, and it was like eye-opening about not how many records she had, but like how even like the non like dance stuff, I don't want to call it EDM, but like even the non-dance stuff, like the more hip-hop stuff and the more reggae stuff, like how hard those records went with the crowd that was there. Like,
oh yeah,
just everything, like ran the gauntlet of so many different genres. Like I was but you're right, like in Drake's, like you can have the same conversation about Drake too. And Kareem and I actually argued about Nicki Minaj as well about this on an episode.
Oh, for sure, Nicki Minaj and Cardi B too. Yeah, a lot. Like some of these artists just have like such great catalogs. You can do a whole night and crush it. You know.
Yeah.
What was our Nicki Minaj? Was it Nicki versus Rihanna? Is that what we did?
Yeah,
we did.
And I took the Nicki side because I'm more hip hop forward DJ than you are, and you went the Rihanna route. So I think she's just more dancey.
Rihanna has more hits, right? I would think. I mean, Nicki Minaj has a lot.
That was my argument, that Rihanna had more hits.
Like more playable stuff. Nicki Minaj has a lot of shit though, right?
I play
like a lot.
Nicki. I play so much.
It's so popular now too, like Starship, Super Bass.
Oh yeah.
All that stuff. Katy Perry too. She fire.
Yeah, that whole
Katy
era.
Perry's fire.
The Drake, Lil Wayne, Nicki era, like all that stuff is prime time, been working for a long time.
I got two questions for you guys. One, Chachi and I think that whole dance party era, like the put your drinks up party thing, is like slowly coming back because hip hop is so bad and house music is so popular. I feel like it's forcing the general pop direction to be more celebrational, or like party driven.
It's exactly where pop crossed paths with EDM back in 2010, 2011. Yep. So everything in that time period is popular again. The
Pitbull Flow Rider stuff, right? Like that.
Yeah. But I think it's also because I think if you look back to hip hop back in that time, like who was hip hop? And people are going to shit on me for saying this, but like Drake was hip hop back then.
Yeah.
Like that was the popular hip hop, but like because hip hop wasn't as good as we were back then saying, oh well, this ain't Gin and Juice, this ain't the Fugees, this ain't Jay-Z. Like we were saying the same thing. Oh, hip hop's trash. So this became popular.
Yeah, even the new stuff though, like look at like APT and look at I can never say a name right. Is it Chappelle Roll or Chapel Roll or
Chapel?
Yeah, Chapel. Like all right, Chapel Roll. Lady Gaga's new track, Abracadabra, right? It's leaning more into that exact same lane that it was then. It's like the market will always find a way to like correct itself. It's like, okay, hip hop's going. Honestly, hip hop's just such a trashy place. Like it's just not good music, right? Yeah. And dance is going more grittier, where like that void in the middle is kind of naturally getting filled up by pop. Yeah. At one point when EDM got so cheesy and pop was a little bit more, I guess, rocky, hip hop filled that void. Which is cool to see. It's cool to see the pop stuff. And secondly, how much new hip hop? Casey and I were talking about this. How much new hip hop are you actually working the sets? When and if you do have to play hip hop? My hip hop sets are currently smaller and smaller, and Kay's is as well. And I was like, yo, are you touching any new stuff? Like literally anything? Are you guys or?
As I add music,
the women route. Only the women rappers that's kind of the only stuff that I really, really play.
Yeah,
I'll add like
too,
3 songs per month to my hip hop folder. I think the one song with Bruno and is it Megan Thee Stallion? Who is it?
No, Sexy Red.
The Bruno Sexy Red track works, but surprise, it's a 100 BPM party record. Like nobody makes 100 BPM party records anymore, and I think that's part of the problem. All the 60 and 70 BPM hip hop that's been coming out for 10 years, it's very hard to translate that to like an open format fun party set, and I think that's the problem.
Yeah. But even like the open format, like I feel like it hits better. Like the no hands, the swag surfing, the even some Pop Smoke stuff, which is old now or whatever. There's like nothing like the last 2 or 3 years where I'm like, not even I have to play this. Like I want to play this. I want to edit this into something like Squabble Up TV Off. They did okay, but then there hasn't been like an All I Do Is Win or a Got Money or that kind of stuff. Like even Whoopty, there's like nothing even like that's been hitting, right?
Yeah, I'm looking right now at one of my recent sets.
Part of the reason why I don't play as much hip hop anymore is because I just feel like my hip hop sets are so stale because there's so many fewer songs that you can play. A lot of what I've been doing, honestly, is like, and I think this is the reason why the Propa stuff's been working and the Hood Politics stuff is working, because it's taking a lot of the hip hop anthems that we've heard, the original version, for so long, and making it a fun, up-tempo party record that sort of works into the 2025 dance music world.
Yeah.
Like that's just been working, you know? And even like the 70 BPM, like Jersey Club or like techno-y style has been sort of working, taking some hip hop stuff and just making it faster with a little bit of a
I'm talking about like not EDM stuff. It's like when you go to like a genuine, all right, I'm gonna dip down 15 minutes in a hip hop set. I'm like Fiend might be my newest song. Not because I'm too lazy to download new music, but like if I open up Rap Caviar, I'm like,
just nothing's coming out.
Yeah. What's going on? That's just my I was just curious what your guys' thoughts are.
I think it's the girls, man. The Sexy Red stuff, the Glorilla stuff. I mean, that hits. Yeah. People get excited about that.
I like that stuff too. When I go down to hip hop, like I like that. Like there's like My Best Friend, and there's like that whole little, little Girls in the Hood, I think is one of them too, and like that party hip hop stuff's fun. I've been finding myself like playing Tyga stuff again, like make it nasty and that fun shit. But I can't find any like it doesn't make me excited at all. Like the newer hip hop stuff, the new pop stuff, awesome. But I was just curious. I've been asking everybody like, what do you? Any hip hop? No.
We need Drake to drop a party, some party records.
Yeah.
So. We'll get back to it. Like you said, everything comes in waves, and it's been a sort of down period for hip hop, I think, for a little bit. But hopefully, at some point, it makes a comeback, and we get more party records.
Yeah, it'll cycle. People will get sick of the bros, or they'll outgrow their bucket hats, or it's whatever. Scratch the sunglasses, and before you know it, this is going to go away, and it's going to be this again. We'll see what happens.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I think this is a good place to sort of start wrapping up. We definitely want to kind of give you this time to just sort of drop, like, if there's one takeaway or just something that you really want to share with the audience to help them grow their business or be better DJs.
I think we touched on a lot of stuff. I would just say, for the new guys, just think about it, but don't overthink it. You know what I mean? Don't let the thought of starting to do something, whether it's start a Patreon or open up Ableton or whatever. Don't let the thought of starting like cripple you. Like I think a lot of these newer kids are looking at like these people that have overnight success, like the Leighton Giordanis or whoever, for example. Fuck, they all sucked. Like no, at one point, like every single person opened up Ableton for the first time and was like, what the fuck is this? Or they've all been the opener for the busboy in the club and train wrecked 50 million times. Like, don't overthink it, just get started. And that's it. Like you'll look back in 6 months or a year and be like, thank God I did that because I was trash, but it's finally clicking. And that could be anything, whether it's having anxiety to post on socials or start a track or reach out to a client or go out and network in a fucking venue that you want to play at. Like, don't overthink it, just go do it. That's it. Every single person you look up to sucked at one point. Whether they want to tell you that or not, that's really it.
I love it. Just get started. If you
literally.
get started, you get a little better every day, right? 1 hour a day or whatever you're going to contribute. Just get started.
You saw what
I
my
love that
NICO
advice.
flyers look like in 2002. If you saw the designs I was making for Team Bopper flyers in Long Island, you would be like, how is this translatable?
Dude, not only that, it took you a long time to get to the point that you're at right now, just in your DJ career, right? It took me a long time. It took Gary. It took everybody. It takes most people a long time to get to a higher level. And even then, you have levels that you want to get to. We all have levels that we want to get to that are higher than where we're at now.
I started DJing when I was 15. I'm turning 40 this year. So that's how many years I've been practicing mixing two songs together. And I feel like I'm just getting started, and I feel like I got so much more to go, and, just, I don't know. So just do the math. I'm not going to say it out loud, but it's a very long time. A lot of these people, I think, don't realize how long, I'm not saying overnight or you guys or anybody, a lot of these people don't realize how long these overnight success stories, like the ones we all look up to, how long that night fucking actually is. You know what I mean? Like for all these artists, I keep bringing up Leighton Giordani and Max because they're like the new guys, like the new big bubbles on the block right now. But you look at any artist and they've been doing this shit for a very long time,
Yeah, James Hype talks about it all the time. We always talk about James Hype on this podcast, but he documents it pretty well how long his overnight success took.
Yeah, and he's literally one of us. He started out as a multi-genre open format DJ playing bars in wherever part of England, right, or UK, or wherever he's from. He was doing the exact same shit that we're doing, and literally one day he was like, I want to do this. And he was terrible at that for the next year. Nobody wanted to book him or whatever, but fast forward, he planted that seed, and now it's where he's at because he made the decision to, I don't know, treat it a certain way.
He's very easy to look up to from his journey because it's so relatable.
And it's so transparent. You can literally go online, see how shitty he was a few years. Not shitty is the wrong word. I'm saying in comparison to what he's doing now.
Right.
His career was at a very different level. 2019, 2020, 2021 to where he is now. I don't know if you guys saw the new YouTube video with all the new visuals he's doing with the touch stuff.
Oh, it's
insane. It's insane. Yeah, that's it.
I could watch James Hype videos all day. I love it.
Me too.
Not only his DJ videos, but his coaching videos are awesome too.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah. See, he could. Yeah, he's good for that stuff. Yeah, it's awesome. For sure.
All right,
anything
Rick
you want to
Runder.
plug?
Anything you want to plug
before we go?
Come see us on Saturday night at Birch and Hoboken. That's for sure.
360. Come see us on Saturday. Hell yeah.
Yeah, you can. We'll put all Rick's links in the show notes and in the email and wherever else. But follow Rick everywhere at Rick Wonder. I think that's the easiest.
Yeah. All right, guys. That was awesome. That was fun.
Man. Appreciate you jumping on.
Thanks for having me.
We will definitely talk to you soon, and appreciate all you guys for listening at home. Thanks for listening to this episode.
All right, guys.
Thanks, guys. Later.
All right, peace out.
I knew he